Okay, so now when we have cleaned everything up, then it's much more easy to add new features. So the new feature or the new addition to our material will then be this fuel. So we need to add some fuel around this, and the center for everything will be the lid here, and then it's getting spread around here, and I will also do so it will pour down a bit here. So if we look at some other reference images, you can see we have some brown here as well. Perhaps not so much here, but I think now if we do something that is new, we can have something down here as well. Anyway, to do that, I will use a technique that I have not shown in the previous session, so I can show you this one. And that is that this part here is the center, and that is another object, and we can reference that object from this object. So we can use the base here, but reference this lid here from this one. So if you select the base, and we now create a mask for this here, we will do like this. So I can take and write an input that will be the texture coordinate. So input texture coordinate, select that one. And here you can see it says object. And you also have this eyedropper here. So what we would like to have as object is this lid here. So you select it. And then that will be the starting point, the center for the material. And then we can use something called length, because then it will be black at the center, and when the distance raises, it will be more and more white. And that will perfectly fit our purposes here. So I will press Shift A, and here go to converter and vector math, and I put that in, and I change this to length. And then I take the object here, and I can now release this one, and everything is black because we are now going to build the mask here. And put this directly to the surface, and you can now see it's black here, but it's starting to get more and more white by the distance from this point here. So what I would like to do now is to transform it from black into white. And that I can do with the mapping range, because there you can add both the contrast but also reverse, so it will be perfect fit for us right now. So I press Shift A, converter, and a map range here. And if I decrease this, you can see then the contrast is increasing. So I will put something on that is really small. I don't 0.05 or 0.04 or something like that. And then we get really white here and black in the middle. And then by just reversing these two, you will get the black in the center, the white in the center, and then black around here. And since I use clamp, it will never go below 0. So it will be 1 here, 0 out here, and here we have the border, so to say. Now the border is very round, which is not so strange because the center is in the middle and then it goes out here. But I would like to bend that a bit, so it pulls down a bit, but also that we have some disturbance or distortion on this circle here. And we can do that in several ways. So one of these ways would be to add a mapping vector, so we can play with the scale a bit. So I will do that. So I press Shift A again, a vector and a mapping vector, and put that in here. And if I now change the scale here for the Z-axis, then you can see it's now pouring down a bit. So we can just use this to like 0, like that, and keep the other ones. And then I would like it to go like back and forth and something like that. And then we need some kind of noise. And when it's like soft tones in the beginning, then I think Musgrave will work fine. So we can add a Musgrave here. So I press Shift A again, and then I will select a texture and a Musgrave texture. because if I connect that directly here, you can see it has soft lines, and it can be even softer when I play with the scale here. So since it's so soft, it's really good to use in this case. So let's go back here. And now we just need it to be connected here in some way. And one way to move things around is to use addition or subtract in the vector math. So I can add something in here. So I just press Shift A, converter and the vector math. I press add, and now I can put in some information here. The only problem is that this is gray and this is blue, so I need to convert this, and that I can use a combine. So I press Shift A, converter, and combine X, Y, Z, and then I have blue here and a gray here, and now I just have to select the correct axis to play with. And I think I should play on this direction, and as you can see, this is red, so it's the x-axis up here that I'm going to play with. So I will connect this with the x-axis here. And then I also would like to connect this to something, and right now you can see it changed rather a lot, but we start with adding this into the same place as we have the other place here. So we use the object here as well, and then we get something like this. And that is way too much to work with, so we can then use a multiply here to decrease the strength from the Musgrave here. And that will be just a normal multiply. So Shift A, converter, math, and I put it in, and I put the multiply here. And then we just make some room here, so I take and select everything, just move it out so we can play with things here in a better way. Okay, so here we have the Musgrave, and we have the multiply, and we have add here, and so on. And now we can decrease this, and now when I decrease it, you can see it goes closer to the original shape here. So with the high value, the Musgrave takes over completely, and with the low value, we have the original shape of this. So a rather low value here. It could be so low, so it could be like 0.05 or something. And then we can just play with the scale here, and you can see now it's pouring out, it's turning here in different direction. So we can take it up so we get some spread on different directions. Can perhaps take up the detail a bit. Don't need a dimension that is that high, but if you don't go too low, because then you get this very ugly shape here. So dimension around 1 could be okay, I think. I can take up the lacunarity a bit as well. So I don't know, something like that. Don't know, we can play with we can have it about this. And if we want to do something more, we can of course do that. But this will be fine. That is not fine. But if we go down, as I had it, 0.05 or even lower, perhaps 0.04 or something, then we get this, and that could work as something that we have poured outside here. So it will be a good mask to work with. And then all we have to do now is convert this and use it for coloring this metal here. So I can then take everything here and move it. See if I can find it here and move it. Let's see here. Take that, and then I move it up here, and then I reconnect the shader here, so we have the old thing in here. And then if I've done everything correctly, we would have everything here at the top. So what we should do with that is to color things. So we have a result color that goes into the base color, and then we should mix that with some color that will be this liquid here. So we add a color, so Shift A, color and a mix RGB. And when you use two different colors that you like, like this one, you will have the blue color in the bottom and then add something that is like a layer above that. Then it's often good to use overlay here. So then you change this to an overlay, and I put in the result color at the top here, and the factor will then be my mask that we created, and then I put that into the base color. And when I do that, I can now control here with different colors. So now you can see I get a smooth transition from this color here to from the blue here to this color here, and then I can increase or decrease this value to make it more or less visible. So now it's like a layer above, so it's not taking over, but you can see the color here, and then it's just to try to adapt it so it looks like similar to what we have here. And if you feel that this should be too weak, well, then you can always increase the result here by using like a power or use multiply or something like that to make the contrast bigger. But as a starting point, I think this works very fine. If you then compare with mix, then it had looked like this. It takes over, so it's way too much. But with the overlay, you get this like perfect thing here. To make it so it get like some distinct difference between that one and that one, we can make a small border here between everything, so you can see like that it's raised a bit, just to have like a small line saying that this part here is the liquid and this is the solid thing here, and that we can use the bump map for. So we have a bump map here, and what we can do is just add a small addition to this. So I can press in Shift A, converter math, and put in an add, not on that one, so we take that away. It should still be the clear coat, and this should not be connected to anything right now. See if I can get it in here without, okay, take it out here. Then I can have this together with the factor for the height, put that in like that. So this was the last group that we did, so I take that and put that into the height here, and then we need something from the top here, and that will then be the result that we get from here. But if I now take that right out here and add it, you will get a lot of bumps here, as you can see. You can see it especially on the side here. It's really much, and it's too much. I just want to have that small line going here. So what I can do then is that I can filter out everything except a very small number, and that I can do with the minimum. So I add another math node between here, pressing Shift A, converter and the math, put that in, and I do that as a minimum, and I can use the clamp here. And if I then decrease this, then the number will never be bigger than what I put in here. So then you can see it's now crawling out from this, and it's going closer and closer to the edge here. So now it's here about, and we only have a small line going out on the sides here. So now it works much better. And you can have it like this, or you can make just so it's small hinge, or just a small line that tells you that, okay, there are some difference between this. So it could be 0.02 or something like that. And now you can hardly notice it, but you can see it here it's a small line, and that is perfect, because then you can see it with your eye that, okay, we have some difference between here, but it's not too much. I can even get one more, so it could be 0, 0, 1 here, because now I can see it's rather much, but now it's okay. So now you see we have a small amount of liquid going here, and the only thing with it, okay, I could see that it was going inside instead of up, and that is because we use invert here. So instead of add, we should subtract, and then we can either use add here and put a negative value here, which is very strange, or we can just change these two and change this to subtract. And if I do that, now I can see that the liquid is above. So now it looks okay here, because the liquid is white, and since we inverted it, that means that darker color will then go up instead of the normal thing that the brighter will go up. So by adding a subtract here, I take away 0.010 from the value, and then we get a result that looks okay here. So then we have that in as well, and the only thing now to do is to transform this so we get this nice looking thing here with a node group and so on. So I take away these, move them up, and that one, and that one, and then we have this here. See if we can fix it. So what we need inside here is all of that, because all of those are new, and we will have that in one group. So we press Ctrl G, and then we have a lot of stuff in here, and now it's up to us to try to sort everything out here. I believe that we would like to change the color from the outside, so I will drag this here, and then I go to the node here, and the first, let's see, it's the second color. Color 2 will then be fuel color. So then we know that this is the fuel. And then we have the color 1, and color 1 is the input color. So then we know that this is the input color here. Let's see, what is the value? The value is this little subtract value, but this is the little subtract value, and this is the value that comes from what we had from beginning. So that is input or bump map. So input bump map, and then we have that, and then the little value, I think we could change that from the outside as well. So we put that in here, and that will then be bump strength, like that. And what we can do with that is that we can put a negative, we can have it from 0 to 0.1, so then it's easier to change, because otherwise we get so big numbers very easily. But if we put it like this, then it's easier to change later on. So a min value of 0, a max value of 0.1, and the default 0.010, that will work fine. Okay, so then we have that, and then we have the color out, and that is normal, it's color. And we also have a factor out, could be good to use. I don't know if we use it, but we can call that FAC. And now we can just go back. I press tab, so we get it here. So now we can see how it looks. So we have a fuel color. We have an input bump. See what that goes from the factor here. That looks very strange. We could call that the bump map as well, and we can take that away. So I do that. Select that one, press tab, and the top one we are not using, so that we can remove. And this one we call bump map, so then we know that it's a bump map, and then we can press tab to go out, and then this looks okay. So we take this, and that will be the input bump map. We create a fuel color here, and if we change that, you can see it changes on the image down here, so we can select whatever we want. We have the bump strength, so with a lot of value here, you can see we get a really high border here, and with the 0 you have no border, and you can only drag between 0 and 0.1, and then we would like to have this to 0.01 like that, so we only see or almost just feel it, but a small, and that works fine. Let's see what we have as an output. Then the factor output will be the bump map as well, so then we change that, but the color can just be the color. So okay, I go in here and I call the factor here a bump map as well, so then we know it. And I said it before, I could call them height since they are height here, but I started with using bump map, so I just continue with that one. And then we need a nice name for that one, so we go to item here and we change this to fuel. Yeah, fuel. That will be what we have here. So now we have added the fuel into this as well. Rather easy, and still we now have a nice looking node tree, and it follows very well this pattern here. So we add a layer and a layer and a layer until we now also have the fuel here. So now I think that is in, and the rest of the sessions will then be to add rust and to tweak a lot of stuff so we get it exactly as we want to. But this is really good starting point, because now we have something for everything except the rust. We will also, of course, do a lot with this glass here. And we can do one more thing before we continue, and that is increasing the realistic feeling by now changing the background a bit here. So in the start we worked with much white as possible just to get the color, but now I want to see more of the HDRY image, because now we will work with all the details. So go to the solid view now, and we can then scale out this, and then you can see this is a really big background here. So we just select that and press S to scale it down so it's small, and then you can press G, Y to move it a bit. I can go a bit closer, we can scale it even more. So we have it like that, and now it's time to look in the camera to see, and we can scale it like that, and GY, see, so we don't destroy anything. Still looks fine, and now we can scale on the other direction, so SX to scale it like that, and we can also move it a bit, so GX, and scale just to something like that, and now I think it looks nice. Now the size is fine, and I would like to apply the scale here, so it will be scale of 1 on the background as well. So now everything looks good here, and we now also can take away the backlight here. So the rim light will be gone, so just press delete to take away that. And if I now go to rendered view here and go to my camera view, it now looks more metallic, so to say, and we also have this part here. So the only thing I do now is that I do a render that I normally do, so we just can see the result after that. So I do the render and just take a pause. Okay, so now the render is finished and it looks really nice. You can see now with more of the HDRI image and less of the white background, and without the rim light this now looks more metallic and more real. And we also have our liquid in here, and we can see some traces between the liquid and the metal here. So I can say that so far it's looking really good. And now we have to go to the part where we start to destroy this. So I will add some rust and so on. But we'll see that in the next session. So I'll just say bye for now.